Now, how would you feel if I told you Williams should have kept Latifi? In today's video, I'm going to be going over should Williams actually have kept Latifi over the one and only Logan Sargent. What the fuck is a kilometer? And I'm wearing an Eagle shirt to commemorate him. And America! But yeah, let's get on to the facts. So, first of all, I want to have a look at both their first 8 races of the season. So for Latifi, the 2022, and Sargent 2023. So we'll start off with Latifi, who got Bahrain 16th, Saudi Arabia DNF, Australia 16th, Imola 16th, Miami 14th, Spain 16th, and Monaco 15th. And then with Sargent, we got Bahrain 12th, Saudi Arabia 16th, Australia DNF, Baku 16th, Miami 20th, Monaco 18th, Spain 20th. So actually, Sargent has had a better result, but they've actually been pretty close to each other in that Williams. So at the minute, I'd say it's a bit neck and neck. And that is worrying when you get on to the next bit, which is how much did each driver cost the team from crashes? Now, I looked through all the crashes Latifi had in the first 8 races and Sargent's had this season. And I put a key down for front wing $125,000, rear wing $125,000 as well, chassis $700,000, and floor $141,000. Anything below it's pretty cheap, so I won't be taking this into consideration. So, first off, let's talk about Latifi's crashes and how much he cost the team. So first up, he crashed in quali Saudi Arabia. Looks like he potentially broke his front wing and his floor, so I've done 125 plus the 141. Then he crashed in Saudi Arabia, and again, looks like the suspension and floor took the biggest hit, with the front wing also being damaged. He destroyed his car in Australia, with the front wing and the rear wing taking the most of the hit. And then in Monaco, he tapped the wall, but had no damage, so I'm not counting that. And that gives Latifi a whopping $782,000 worth of damage, around, if my calculations are right, which is £630,000 in damages to the team. Logan Sargent has crashed into Nick De Vries, front wing damage, $125,000. Crash in the Baku sprint shootout, suspension slash floor and rear wing looked damaged the most, so again I'll add that onto the tally. And then finally he crashed in Spain FP3, not a lot of damage, but it looked like he damaged his front wing. That would have needed to be replaced as well. And once you tally all of that up, Sargent's costs were $512,000, £413,000. So for the minute, it actually looks like Sargent's been the better driver. He's had the better result. Yes, both of them had no points at this point, but he's cost the team less. Because he just got promoted from F2, he's pretty cheap, and it looks like it was worth the risk to get him in. Now, let's bring in the final thing to think about, because this is the most crucial part, and I think this is why it actually looks like Latifi was the wrong option to let go. Latifi's funding, he brought in a whopping 30 million euros in sponsorships from his dad, which is £26.3 million. Now, I couldn't find anywhere online saying how much Sargent brought in, but it can't have been that much. Even if I was being generous with 10 million euros, it's just so much less than Latifi was bringing in for not a lot better results. Like, I really think if Williams wanted to bring in someone who's not a paid driver, they had to have brought in a Ricciardo or snag Hulkenberg while he was going. Even bring back someone like Grosjean. Anyone would have been better than I think Sargent at a minute, considering how poor he's been performing. It's crazy to think, looking at the stats, Latifi should have not been dropped. Yes, his results were bad, but they're just as bad as Sargent's. And without the money, it's just costing Williams more. Yes, Williams are paying less in damages than they had with Latifi when looking at the side-to-side comparison, but when you got that funding coming through from Daddy Latifi, it's just so much more money than Sargent's bringing in. So I really think Williams took an L here. I think the last thing that really needs to be taken into consideration is, as we know, USA now has 3 racetracks on the calendar, which means they are getting more and more fans, especially with how F1's going to social media, to YouTube. It's becoming a lot more, well, you could say Americanized. I mean, everyone saw the Miami intro, which I don't think many people liked, but that's what the sport is becoming. So you're getting a lot more American fans who will be buying merch off Williams because of Sargent. Now, again, that won't cover the costs of Latifi, but maybe that's more of a long-term thing. But the problem is, I can't see Sargent being a driver at Williams for the next 10 years, because he will get sacked, or crazily, if he starts to do better, he'll be picked up by a better team. Yes, you could say it's a long-term investment, but I just don't see where that is really going to come into a factor when Latifi gave them so much more money. So, in conclusion, bring back the Latifi, man.